Yes, stay tuned to find out just how many pools of blood Pearl received. But as usual, we're going to start off here with the IMDb plot, which is super short this time. Basically, backstory on how Pearl became the person she was. Yes, that is it. If you're curious to who Pearl is even to begin with, I suggest you start with watching X, which is a very, very good movie, and basically the first of these, what is going to be a trilogy, apparently. And so they started with X, and basically you see the old version of Pearl, and you get introduced to her, and now you get to see the young version of Pearl, and basically how she went crazy or became crazy, or however you want to go with that. Um, she's, I don't want to get too much into X, but that was a very good movie. And obviously, we see Pearl as an old woman here, and which was very interesting because she was an old woman who ended up being the killer in this story, and we don't get to see that as much. Old people doing some killing, although Michael Myers is old and did some killing now, but that's a whole different subject. Anyway, Pearl is basically when she is a young woman, and kind of, I guess, if you want to call it a coming of age in a bad way story here. And she's, we get thrown back in the farm, and I'm not going to get too much into X. Hopefully, you guys saw that. But we get to see, the farm is still there, and Pearl, we get introduced to her parents and see the influence there of what's going on there with her parents. Father's not too well. She's got kind of a strict mom, and you kind of see her, by herself and doing some things, and some things that we kind of seen before in serial killers and people who end up killing, partaking to like some of the animals here in this case, and basically over the course of the movie, she just kind of slips into craziness, and that's the basics of the story. So you get the beginning, and then obviously you watch X, you kind of see the end of her life, and then here in the beginning, and so you're getting to see the kind of pieces of the puzzle of who Pearl is put together. And for what I like, well, I like a lot about this, but one of the things I like about this is kind of, for a while I've been always thoughts of wanting a slasher that's a woman, and and I know we've seen here or there women killers here and there, whatever, but it's hard to find one to the status and so forth of say a Michael or a Jason or a Freddy, and someone like that, and someone who has just multiple parts, multiple movies, and is just a woman who's a killer. And here we go. We saw it in X as an old woman, and here we go. We see her here in her young age killing, and so we kind of see the end at the beginning, and see how it happens. So it's just very interesting to see a woman doing the killing, and B, kind of the beginning and the end of it, and to see, a lot of times, we get introduced to slashers or killers and whatever, we don't really get to see, where it started or where it went wrong, or it's very brief with that. And here we get a pretty good understanding of where it went wrong, and where she went crazy. She's probably kind of born that way, but regardless, definitely the farm and things that went on the farm didn't help, and we get a taste of that as this movie goes on. But speaking of things to like, let me get her name right here, Mia Goth, right? She does a fabulous job in this movie. Obviously she's the focus. You get a little bit of the father and and the mother. But she is, supremely the focus in this movie. And, there's other people from here and there, but, she has some screen time alone. There's another scene where she kind of breaks down and she's talking to a friend, and she puts on, just this crazy speech and kind of like a recap to her friend about what's been happening. And just moments like that are just great, and you just completely focused on what she's saying and how she's saying, and just, I don't know, just something about her, you're just glued to it, and what she's saying, what she's going through, and just waiting, seeing that battle between, trying to be a normal girl and just do her thing, and then, she has dreams and hopes, but then, just the craziness that seeps in and just gets the best of her. And, some things happen on purpose and some things don't. And, then you get the moments that we come for, the deaths and the killing and whatever, and it's terrific. I mean, there's a scene where she's got an axe, and I'm not gonna say who she's chasing, and she's chasing this person, and again, you just think back to Jason and Michael or whatever, just slowly stalking whoever they're gonna kill and coming after them, and this is it's in the same light. It's just, here she comes, and she's got the axe, and she's going after them, and she's not in a great hurry. She knows she's gonna get them, and and then takes a whack at them, or a couple of whacks at them, and some of the deaths might have seemed like an accident, but or she, that's not what she intended to, but she, like I said, it just gets the best of her, and she has it in her, and you're doomed if you're on the bad side of it, and that's it. And I just kind of trying to remember all the deaths in X and versus this, and I don't know which one was better, but I still enjoyed it either way. And she just has it, and we got introduced to an alligator in X, and here we get to see the alligator again and her relationship, and it's funny watching that scene, because then I think a lot of horror fans flash back to thinking or remembering Betty White when she was feeding the alligator and so forth, and Lake Placid, and I kind of was remembering that as she was there standing in front of this alligator, crocodile, whatever, in the water. And that is a good pet to have, especially when you're killing people and trying to dispose of bodies. So that's fun stuff as well. And it was just it's fun seeing a woman slasher, and it just kind of on the other side of things. And I enjoyed it, and I'm always fascinated with learning more. I know a lot of people hated on, like, per se, Rob Zombie's Halloween, but one thing I liked about it is that it revisited Michael Myers when he was young, and kind of trying to add something to that. And I've always wanted them to maybe do more with Jason, and trying to learn more before, obviously, his tragic tale of dying in the lake or drowning in the lake, whatever. Didn't really die, comes back to life over and over again, but whatever, besides that. But just learning more about a character's past, especially when we see so much of its future and going forward. So kind of interesting take here of presenting her as old to begin with, and then going all the way back and seeing how she became that way. And then we'll see where they go with what I'm guessing will be the middle part, obviously, and see what happens, and see how those three movies connect, and her journey from beginning to end happens. So a lot of interesting things happening there. And I guess the one other thing to add here before kind of trying to wrap this up, I like, I'm not by far an expert on old film or older films or whatever, but you kind of got that. When I watched X, I kind of got that similar vibe to when I watched like Texas Chainsaw Massacre. There was a lot of similarities, at least in my mind, between what happened and then kind of the setup, and then kind of in the way it was shot. And this one kind of takes an old school jab too, because this one obviously goes even further back. But just small simple things like how they introduced like the title, and just how they cut from some of the scenes, from one scene to the other, just that nice kind of old school or feel to it, or just giving you something different than what we're always used to seeing. And I enjoyed that as well. And it's just a nice extra touch, because they didn't have to do that. You don't have to do that. They could have just filmed it like much of the movies we see now and just gone straight forward. But since their story kind of goes backwards a little bit, it's just nice to kind of make it almost an old style film as well. They could have really stretched it and gone to black and white if they wanted to, but whatever. Or maybe they should have done a black and white version. I mean, whatever. That would have been fun. But yeah, I'm by far not an expert on the old school stuff. But just little differences in the way it was just a nice added little touch there. And yeah, and just one other thing about Mia Goth. I mean, she does a terrific performance, and it's amazing when certain characters do crazy things in movies, and you just think about the actress who actually has to do it. And she has an interesting scene out in the field with the scarecrow, and that's all I'll say there. But that just I could just imagine them shooting that, and just how strange that had to be, or at least to do that, and especially do that in front of a bunch of people. But whatever, that's part of it. That's what you get paid to act for, and so forth. And yeah, I mean, whatever, it is what it is. But it is, when you watch it, it's strange enough. But then when you think that they had to actually shoot that, you wonder. I guess it's just part of the job. But all in good. So with that, I went back, and I don't do it all the time, and I say I should do it, but this one I went back to double check what I gave X, and I gave it 3.5 pools of blood. And I was kind of thinking, well, was this better? Was this not? I really liked that movie. I gave it 3.5. I didn't watch the whole review over. I don't remember. I know there was a lot of things I liked. I don't know why I didn't give it more. Kind of the reason why I don't go back and look sometimes is because then I find it hard. I don't usually want to give sequels higher regards. And as I sit here, I'm kind of thinking should I do it 3.5 or should I do 4? And I say, why not 4? And I also think it's very interesting that both these movies, I mean, I didn't see exactly when X came out, but I know I reviewed it for this year, which means I saw it this year, which means, as far as a top 10 movie, I remember when I said X, I said, don't be surprised if you see that in a lot of people's top 10. But now you have Pearl, and both of them, it might be in the same year. I didn't double check for X for sure if it was late last year or this year, whatever, regardless. But for at least me, now I have two movies that basically of the same thing under the same year. So and if I give this 4.4 pools of blood, do I sneak X in there in the top 10 as well? So dilemma coming up, maybe we'll see. But I'm gonna give this 4 pools of blood. I just I liked both movies. I could have given the first one X 4 pools of blood just as well. I don't remember what held me back. I don't know. But we'll see. I mean, this is a good one, and I fully expect to see this one, just like I said with X, in a lot of people's top 10s, and we'll see where this lands at the end of the day. But it seems well received. Again, we always question the IMDb scores. It's got 7.1 here, and we'll see. But for me, yeah, we're gonna stick with the Four Pools of Blood, and that definitely sets the bar high for XXX or Triple X or whatever they officially end up entitling the third version of this trilogy. But I'm excited for it, and I'm sure horror fans will be as well, and definitely that bar will be raised. That bar was definitely raised. From X to Pearl to whatever they give us next. But definitely good stuff. And with that, horosgoryreviews.blogspot.com is where you can find all my reviews, the written reviews and the video ones. But if you're just interested in the video, of course, you can subscribe, don't subscribe, like, whatever, all that good stuff that everybody tells you to do. And Twitter, Facebook as well. Information will be down below. So you can follow me there, and if you want to talk about this movie, other movies, horror in general, please feel free to do so there or in the comment section. Welcome your thoughts on this movie and your comparisons with X, and good to see when they do the final movie and get to talk about all three movies together and what they ultimately have done. But yeah, feel free to do so in the comment section there. And with that, I will catch you on the next review, horror fans.